Among poetry, prose, and drama, drama is the closest field when it comes to performance. In fact, drama is meant to be performed. Its style and structure are designed to be performed on stage. However, we still need to treat drama just like how we treated poetry and prose. In this lecture video, we will explore the elements in drama that we will use when it comes to analyzing and performing the text. We will also look at some rehearsal tips to help us perform the text well. The script is usually the text we have when performing drama. If in poetry and prose, we convert the text into a dialogue script, in drama, we have the luxury to have a dialogue script. However, as performers, we need to have the habit of analyzing the text and studying it, whether or not it explicitly guides us on how to perform it. For the analysis of drama, we will look at the plot, character, scene, and rhythm. Plays usually follow the narrative plot format: exposition, conflict, rising action, crisis, climax, denouement or resolution, or catastrophe. But before we go any further in this discussion, is there any difference between interpretation and acting? Both interpretation and acting are the same when it comes to performance, but interpretation allows you to take multiple roles in a text, especially when you are short in performers or if you're the only one performing a text with a lot of characters. Another thing is that you use less props and visuals in interpretation unlike in acting, because you will use your skill and technique in making the audience imagine using limited resources and using only your voice, body, and space. Performing drama requires that you coordinate all the skills you use in performing other genres. Mastering the basic skills requires considerable practice. And the skills of the solo performer of drama are also the skills you use to perform poetry and prose. We need to remember that drama always has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Unlike real life, dramatic life consists only of carefully selected events that take place for a discernible reason. Everything that happens on stage contributes to the conflict. The excitement of the conflict arises from the equality of the matched contestants. Thus, people in conflict making choices about their lives is the essence of drama. If we look back on our previous lessons regarding plot, we will see that the plot moves because of conflict or towards resolving a conflict. Plays are organized on the principles of unity and probability. We said their basic ingredient is conflict. Conflict in drama can be seen in both dialogue and scene. Thus, when it comes to interpreting drama, we must create a completely convincing illusion of what we are performing. Plays are usually long, so for the sake of performing with a time limit, interpreters usually excerpt a scene or an act to analyze and perform. However, we still need to read everything for analysis because we can still find much useful information about the characters in parts of the play we won't be performing. That is why, when we study a play during rehearsal, we need to proceed carefully, speech by speech. Aside from the plot, we also look at the characters. The characters are the most important in interpreting drama. Remember that plays are interactions of characters. When analyzing a play, we need to understand the shape of the scene that results when the characters try to live with one another. To perform the scene successfully, determine how this action arises from the characters' needs and goals as revealed or hidden in what they say and do. Although we focus here on one scene, the first step is to understand how all the scenes make the play. When you have a rough idea of the functions of each scene, begin to look at each scene individually, keeping in mind that what you decide must be consistent with the rest of the play. You will develop your own method by a process of trial and error as you gain experience with different kinds of plays. Carefully follow the patterns of action or inaction and silence or speech. Once you know the content of the scene, you should consider the relationship of the characters of the setting in which they live. Before we start to rehearse, we need to know the physical, psychological, and emotional background of the character in different situations or scenes in the play. This is important because not only it helps us with our analysis, but it also helps us how to act effectively and when to act the scene. Identifying the character also gives us a clue of the play's style. In discovering the elements of dialogue style, interpreters learn about another part of the character's life. The language a character uses reveals the background and attitude. The arrangement of ideas gives a clue to how the person thinks and is likely to reflect the intensity of emotion. The length of the thought units may also reveal much about the character's personality, forcefulness, and authority, as well as a degree of psychological tension. The interaction of characters is also creatively written and arranged to capture the audience's attention. The pattern of arrangement creates a scene's distinctive rhythm. Interaction becomes fluent as the rhythm of the individual speeches become more obvious, even inevitable to you. At the same time, how the speeches work off each other will become more apparent because the tempo of the interaction provides the foundation for rhythm. Rhythm in a play is extremely interesting and complex. First, at the stylistic level, the individual speech rhythm of each character is revealed. Second, emotional tensions fluctuate. Anger rises and subsides, or laughter is shared or separated. All these variations reveal rhythm in both content and form. And third, there is the inevitable alternation between activity and stillness. The more we see the rhythm in a play, the more we see the tempo and speed of the play, as well as appreciate every scene. One of the most important things to do in interpreting drama is the rehearsal. Here we can try and polish our techniques in performing the text. According to Gura and Powell, technique is the economical management of a performer's resources. Being an economical performer means asking when is the best time to use the voice and body to produce specific effects. Here, we practice our voice, our body, our positioning in the space, as well as the interaction of characters in the dialogue. Technique allows us to refine, clarify, and break bad habits when it comes to performance. Here we also see the play in a wider point of view, and here we select which perspective we will use when we perform. When we rehearse, we need to remember that our focus is to present the selection instead of presenting ourselves. One thing I noticed that some performers is that they let emotions consume them when they act. But instead of letting emotions consume us when we act, we need to learn how to control them. It doesn't mean we should suppress our emotions or lessen the use of emotions. What we should do is to choose to use an emotion strategically during a scene in performance and use the emotion instead of the emotion controlling you. Remember, you are still in charge of the performance, and being in charge means that you should be in control throughout the performance. Another thing I notice is the excessive use of props. Yes, we can use props in plays and they are really important. But when it comes to oral interpretation, props may cause problems for performers. So how do we solve this problem of using limited or minimal props? An alternative for props would be mimetic gesture. Use your movements, body positioning, and posture, and imagination when it comes to replace props with your voice, body, and the use of space. Take note first of how your character dresses and moves, because this will help you on which props to use and replace. This will also help you in positioning and projecting your voice. Another question often asked by performers is that can we perform an opposite gender? To answer that question, we need to remember that audiences want to believe. You are not asking them to believe you are physically a particular character, but rather you are asking them to join you in creating a character who behaves and thinks in the fashion that you are suggesting and who happens to be a type of a person. Like age and infirmity, gender is finally a matter of characterization. Yet neither age, infirmity, nor gender alone is sufficient to create a character. To end this lecture, I'll quote Gura and Powell. Performing drama is the most technically challenging task an interpreter can undertake, but it can also be the most rewarding. The challenges and the rewards follow from the same source. Drama's unique reliance on speaking characters to introduce, develop, and resolve conflict. Like the interpreter of prose and poetry, the interpreter of drama responds emotionally, mentally, and physically to the aesthetic entirety of the literature. Performing drama affords another opportunity to broaden your experiences. Drama presents special problems in creating character, managing dialogue, and demonstrating action.